Sorry, no lo siento. Sorry, no lo siento. No lo siento. No lo siento. Sorry, no lo siento. No lo siento. No lo siento. Sorry, no lo siento.
Hit it. Yes, Sirski. Wow. Bienvenidos a otro capítulo de Sorry.
No lo siento.
Nicole, you're supposed to say no lo siento after I say sorry.
I didn't know. We didn't practice this.
We have to figure out a way to where it just flows right.
Oh, okay. Well, you could say sorry and I could say no lo siento.
Because I say it and then when I'm done with it, you're saying it, so it just doesn't, it overlaps, you know?
Oh, my bad.
We need like content for the reel.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of reels, shout out to everyone that's been liking the reels, that's been showing love to the reels. Yeah, that's something. Then the reels are new. Well, the new reels are new because we were doing reels already, but
the new style of reel.
I got it in my editing bag now.
We have a whole new style.
Yo, no me dejen get into my video bag. And I'm just starting though. But I'm having fun and editing video, and I'm enjoying it way more than trying to figure out mixing and mastering. Cause that's a whole science, right, Joe? Isn't
yes, sir.
And like it's so complex. Like I tried to watch YouTube videos to like figure out what it is, and it's just so much going on. It sounds like science to me, and I'm like I'm cool off this. But video editing, it's fun. Like you can play with the colors, you play with the video, you play with the sizing, and basically no one knows what I want. You know, like visually.
Right.
Sonically, I don't even know what I want because that's not even my language, you know. But yes. Bienvenidos todos a otro capítulo, otra plática aquí en Sorry, no lo siento. We got to make our way up in the Latin pod space.
Yeah.
There's not too many.
There's not too many. I actually was looking at hashtags today randomly, and yeah, there's not a lot that I saw under Latino podcasters. There was not that many.
Yeah, we gotta fix that. Well, we are fixing that, right?
We're doing that. Yeah,
we're doing our part.
We're
doing our part.
I
want to see more of my people, or just colored people, really, in these spaces, the media spaces, because I mean the whites already run the media space. Come on, ain't no Latin owns Fox. We don't got nothing like that. Even Univision's probably under some Jew, you know, like let me relax, but you know, it's all we don't know nothing. We don't know anything. But I don't want to get deep right away, right?
Right.
This is a fun episode. We got a new Plática for you guys. Today we're talking about church, about misa. Misa was definitely a thing growing up.
Right.
As I was saying, I could have sworn Mercury was done, but now I'm hearing there's a shadow period. I don't know. I don't know. I can see why people get turned off by the stars and moons.
It's a lot.
But yeah, I was saying we need more people, more colored people in media spaces for sure. And we're doing our part here on Sorry, no lo siento.
Right.
Real quick though, make sure to share this with your loved ones, man. Share it with your mom, grandma, uncles, tias, the older crowd. Share it with the young crowd, but share it with the older crowd, and hopefully they can take something. I feel like we're gonna ruffle feathers if the older crowd listens
today. Yes,
which is fine. I think with every topic, right? Because we're kind of going against the things that they kind of wish we carried on with us. I feel like
we're going against the grain. I feel, and that's why this show is called Sorry, no lo siento.
Yeah. But we got some sensitive people, and that's fine.
And that's fine. They can agree to disagree.
That's fine. But today's Plática is definitely going to ruffle some feathers, I feel like, because it's about misa.
Yes.
And I'm not here to talk, crap about misa. I'm not trying to talk crap about church, but...
Cussing.
Cussing?
Oh, you just said...
Crap?
Yeah.
That's a cuss word?
Ooh. I mean,
Ooh.
That's a cuss word.
I'm just saying it.
I purposely said crap, so I didn't say the S word. Damn.
Well, it's still
You said
vulgar.
crap in church in the same sentence. I think
Yeah.
that's what
That's a good point. So yeah, I guess I'm not here to talk bad about church. Let's put it that way. I'm here to just talk about how it was our experience growing up, the way we grew up with church,
Right.
in our life. Woo. Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa. That wasn't supposed to happen like that.
you want full audio control?
Yeah, I got it. I gotta get into the rhythm where we cue up all the music before we start the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But welcome to Siento, Lo Siento, guys. Settle in, acomódense. Get right in the sala. Get your cafecito, get your conchas, get your pan dulce, get your gansito. I know y'all got the gansitos. I know y'all want the gansitos. I like gansitos, man. I was trying to find a song that had to do with like church, but that it wasn't. Mm-hmm. I was trying to find a song that had to do with church, but that it wasn't a gospel song, and that was kind of difficult. And then my little brother was just like, "Yo, how come we don't play Adios de Pido from Juarez?" And I'm like, you know what? Cause my mom was giving me songs, but they were so sad. And I'm like, Mom, I don't want a sad song. I'm trying to bring energy to the pod, so we settled on this. It's a classic.
It is a classic.
Juanes. Yes, sir. I need a Spanish version of yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
Sí, señor. Sí, don. Don. You always say don. Doña or don?
Don, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I'd say yes, sir, but I can't be saying that on Siento, Lo Siento. That's like some that's OB lingo.
OBs.
Yeah. So I'm like, how can I say yes, sir? But I will figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Right.
That song's so fire.
It's a good song. Now that I'm hearing it, I remember the music video too.
Oh, I remember the music video too. Adiós le pido y si me duele se me enamoro. I'd be surprised how much I remember Spanish music or Spanish songs.
Right. Yeah.
It's it's so important. I think we talked about this on one of the Pláticas, but it's so important to just take what your parents showed you growing up. My parents weren't bumping rap music growing up,
No.
So this is my mom's bag. Like she never liked corrido, she never liked banda, but this was her bag. Pop en español, like the good Spanish music, right? It wasn't necessarily just it wasn't rap. That was my own little rabbit hole. But I'd be surprised at all the music that I still remember and vibe to, right? It has to be brought to my attention, and then
like your brain just turns on again.
Yeah. I'm really a jukebox. I ain't gonna lie. Like at work, people notice that because I'm at work. I'm that person that I'm always rapping something, singing something, saying some bars, and they'd be like the randomest songs. Like one morning at work, I had Fergie on my mind. I was over here singing "Clumsy" because I'm falling in love.
We had that whole chat about music that one time.
That's what inspired that. But I'm definitely that type of person where I like music, and certain things just trigger certain songs in my mind. Or certain conversations. Sometimes people might say something and it triggers like a song title or something, and I just say. Another day, one of the chick at work was, she said like, "You really like music, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I really like music." If you can't already tell. Let me see. All right, yeah. So what's good with your week, Nicole? How you been? How you doing? How's everything post retrograde?
This week went by really fast.
Yeah.
I felt like
It's already Thursday, yeah.
it's already Thursday. We're recording.
Ya estamos en junio. Like, bro.
Yeah.
We're halfway through the year already.
Halfway. It's I'm just surprised at how quickly time has gone by. And this week just doing stuff with my business, trying to launch a little store, trying to get into my entrepreneurial bag.
Keep talking, yeah?
Just doing that, like trying to figure out how to get my website set up, trying to figure out how to create better content, not only for the podcast page, but for my own page. Just showing up for myself and realizing how I show up for others, and I should also be showing up for myself just as much. But aside from that, it's been good. Work's been good. It's going to be really hot this weekend, so bracing myself for that. It's supposed to be like 107 here in Northern California, so hoping to be by a pool or something with this heat. But that's pretty much been it. Just, looking at our content on the Sorry No Lo Siento Instagram. Make sure to please follow us, comment, like, share, subscribe.
Honestly.
Thank you.
No one's dropping content like us at this level. I'm going to just say that. At this level.
Yes.
Like I don't like tooting my own horn, but I'm beep. For real. Cause man, I just pride myself on product. I pride myself on like, I care too much about the smallest of details. I know so many people don't, and maybe that's why those people advance faster, because they're feeding the algorithm, like we talked earlier, right? They're just feeding the beast. They're feeding the beast, and me, I only want to feed the beast when it's cooked properly.
Yeah, you want to give the algorithm a meal, but everyone else is giving the algorithm multiple snacks.
Facts. But no, I've had a solid week. I just been a lot of editing, a lot of just doing content, a lot of just work, because we were gone for a minute. We were gone for the last month basically, so we were just recycling old content, and we talked about a little bit what went on behind the scenes on the last episode. Check out La Plática de Tattoos. It was an amazing episode. We really enjoyed that. Yeah, it was a vibe. And I enjoyed it. It sucks that we had the video started so late, but the audio and content is great. It's there. So hopefully people tap in and they enjoy that. But so I've just been doing that every day. I've just been editing, trying to figure out, because just to get a 7-second clip, it takes a good hour, 2 hours just to get a 7-second clip. And but I've been enjoying it, and I'm glad I've been enjoying it, because it doesn't bug me, and I'm like, I get excited, like, come on, I'm gonna go edit this video. I'm figuring out my little routine where to work faster. I set my pre-save my settings, my color grading. You figure out the ways to make it the process faster, for sure. So I've been enjoying that, and mom's still in town. I've been enjoying I love coming home and just. I can cook, but just having home, like my mom's home cooked meals, it hits different.
It hits
my
different.
My food don't match to that, like that's a lot of years and experience. So, she's been in town. I've been just kicking it with her on free time. She's she's working from home, so it's not like we haven't been doing nothing crazy, but just having them here, it hits
the presence.
It just hits different. I don't come home to an empty house. The dogs have company throughout the day, and it's nice. It's nice. I ain't gonna lie. I don't even want her to go home, but eventually she will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that everything's starting to flow again.
Me too.
And we could blame Mercury. I know I joke about it sometimes. To an extent, I do believe a lot of this, what happens in the skies and all that. But I'm not trying to be burnt, and people don't really care. But it's just crazy how like that happened, because it's not like we plan all this. It's crazy how it just played out the way it played out. But I'm so glad that we're finally back in the space where everything's flowing again. And that's crazy how just incorporating an engineer or someone to handle that changes
the dynamic and how everything,
the flow.
Yes.
Like, yo, we were really at a stop because we didn't have like audio mixed and mastered, you know? And once I get that, it's like, okay, once I get that, it's just go time. I start going crazy.
Yeah.
Cause that's the only thing that's the only thing I can't do. So once I get that, it's like, okay, cool. I can figure everything else out. You know, I can figure out a rollout. I can figure out how to drop it. I can figure out the uploads. I can figure out how to get it on the platforms. I can figure out the video, but it's just how it sounds. I can't figure that out. And maybe I need to just sit with audio and just really figure it out. But I'm not trying to look into what compression is, into what EQ is. Like it's so technical. And then you have to list like certain areas you have to do certain things, and other areas it's just a lot. It's a lot. And right now, like if you have a job in audio engineering, like that's kind of like the future stuff, because everything's digital.
Really
everything's digital. Everything's going this way where
media,
video. Man, but sometimes I see people just recording off their iPhones like it's a mic, and like that's cringy to me. It works. It works, but I don't know. I guess I based what level they're coming with based off their media output, or based off their content output. But you can have millions of followers, right? But if you're doing interviews off your phone like this, it's only so much I can really like tap into and take you serious, because if you're really about the life, you would have definitely taken it to the next level already.
But you'd be surprised how many people, for example, TikTok people who make all their content with an iPhone, no microphone, and they just make it work.
They make it work, and there's no complaining. They don't get in their own way. They don't care about being perfect, and that's what I mean. Where those are usually the people that advance quickly. Yeah. And I don't know. I need a social media manager now. I want a solid team. That's my aim. I want to eventually get to a point where I can just show up and worry about potting. I don't want to worry about uploading. I don't want to worry about all this like
posting.
I want to see everything in real time.
What's the caption gonna say?
Yeah. I want to see everything in real time, like the rest of the people see it. Like, when you have someone handling all this, like, go crazy. Yeah. Post what you want to post, and But I know that like, see, I want it to be at that level, but that takes time. That's not gonna happen in the first year you potting. If you're lucky, yeah. If you really have the friends around you, or like people around you that trust your vision and trust, okay, Chris is leading this, like he got this, like we're gonna back him up and get support him and everything. And that's different, But then people expect to be compensated right away, and I totally understand that as well. You can't expect people to just do everything for free, especially when they don't know you. We don't know each other like that, Like, yeah. And I think that's why I hold myself back a lot too, because I'm trying to make people that I grew up with. I'm trying to make people that I'm friends with. I'm trying to get them into the space. I'm trying to make them fit a role for me, but their vision ain't my vision, And not everyone can take taking orders. I mean, not everyone can handle taking orders from someone, and especially men amongst men. It's a lot of ego gets involved sometimes. So sometimes it's hard to find the right team. And I don't be going outside like that. I don't be outside trying to mingle and meet people. So
you have to network.
Yeah, you really do. And I don't be doing all that. And I know that hurts a lot.
That is a component that I think you're missing.
Yeah, and I'm so like, it's crazy because I feel like I know I'm an introvert, but when I'm on here, I'm an extrovert.
Yeah, I get it.
When people see me pod, they might think I'm outgoing, I'm this person, but I'm really not trying to be outside. Like, I like being outside, don't get me wrong. If something pops up, I'm there. I might be there, but sometimes I get too high and I just stay home. Like, you get me? Like,
yeah, no, man. I get it. It's been really interesting that you say that, because you and I talk behind the scenes, and I try to make my time on social media useful. Mm-hmm. And so I'm always looking at other creators, other podcasters, other, people who have businesses, entrepreneurs. And There is this business in Southern California. It's called the Milk Room. It's like a shop, and they have like a podcast, and they have that. And they were talking, there's multiple people on the team. So I always like jump around to see like what, and they all say the same thing. In order for them to have been able to open 3 stores, they had to have a good team. They had to have a solid team. They all had the same vision. They knew they had to put in the work. So I think sometimes you just have to step out of the comfort of wanting your friends to work with you and venture out to like-minded individuals who see the vision that you're painting.
Maybe not even see the vision, but at least be passionate about the role that you want them to consume, right?
That
like,
too, because that matters.
Yeah. Like if you find someone that is into video editing, but they might not really know your vision, but they like video editing and they might be, they get paid, so they'll do the video editing. Same with like the mixing and mastering, right? It's the same thing. Like they might not know my vision, but it's a job and they know how to do it. But then eventually the more we start kicking it and hanging out, they start seeing like, okay, like I kind of sense
this has potential.
Like, yeah, I kind of see it in play. You know, it's not just, oh, let's record here and there. Like we're on a schedule. I'm trying to, you know, it's a lot of planning that goes on. And then we've talked about this too, where people don't understand what goes on before we even get to sitting down here. People don't understand what goes on throughout the whole week. Like people just see the finished product, which I get it. You know, everyone's a consumer, everyone's a listener. You know, I don't expect you to understand the headaches of podcasting and all that, but like behind the scenes, a lot goes on before we sit down here on this day to record this episode. There's so much planning that goes into this. The outline, I have to, talking to the engineer, talking to Joe, like just handling the audio, doing the video. Like there's, at the end of the day, we're not just showing up as talent. We're definitely like, it's our baby and it's our show, and we have to keep our hands in everything, and we're doing everything. But people don't understand that. Like, people don't understand why we left the whole month. You know, and I don't expect people to understand. I'm not trying to explain to people. They don't have to get it, you know, but it's a lot that goes into this. And sometimes I just wish I had capital so I can just here, do this for me, do that for me.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Because that's how you grow too, though. And I understand as much as I wish I could do this myself. I wish I didn't have to rely on nobody, Nicole. I really do. But I understand that doesn't take longer for me to get to where I get to. And that only limits you too. Every success story that you see and hear about, a team is involved. No one's doing anything by themselves. And I'm realizing that. So once I built the studio, it's like I built it with the intention of people coming in to just, help me. The way I used to pod before, where there was no camera really like that. It was just a mixer next to me, some mics, that I was able to kind of, handle it myself. But even then, I wasn't mixing and mastering the audio. It was raw audio. However, it was mixed off the mixer. It was getting thrown out like that, and it gets to a point where it's like if someone came across our podcast, they have to kind of see, okay, this person really loves podcasting, because I think you can tell, like, just off the 3 seasons that I've done, the elevation just in 5 years, like. It takes people a long time to get to like this point, podcasting. And maybe I'm skipping steps. Maybe I should have gained the audience. I should have gained the following, the listens before I even get to this point. But presentation matters, and I always put myself in the shoes of the consumer. And I know that if I saw a pod, the way a lot of you all be posting your content, I don't be tapping in. I'm sorry, like you don't. It's not grabbing me. Those reels, you send me sometimes reels of podcasts, and the reason you're sending me like those reels is because it stood out to you. We're studying it, we're looking at it. Okay,
it's all about studying.
It's all about studying it,
and it's not even about comparison. It's just like, okay, this is what a lot of people are doing, or this is what we don't want to do. There is a lot of work that goes into this, and how we want to present ourselves, and how. There's a standard that we have created.
Man, there's definitely a standard. Well, I'm putting that standard on myself. I put that pressure on myself.
Yes.
But I pride myself on my product. So that's why if my name is on it, I don't want it to be half. Mark that one down. I don't want it to be half.
You don't want it to be mediocre.
Yeah, but I was trying to say it in Spanish.
Oh, well.
I was going to say the CULO, but that's still a bad word.
That's still...
I was going to say the PUTO, but that's still a bad word. Yo, Peruvians say poto. For butt, they say poto.
Really?
Yeah, and it's weird. My aunt says that. She's like, "Oh, te pegaste en el poto," and it always sounded weird to me. That was random,
The beauty about Spanish is that regionally it changes.
yeah, like I didn't know everyone. I didn't know that not everyone. I thought straw was popote universally in Spanish. That's not the case.
Bahia.
Yeah, everyone had different ways of saying straw, and I was like, huh. I like popote. That sounds hard.
How do you say fork?
Comedor? No, comedor. Tenedor.
Some people say cubierto.
Nah, it's
Yes.
tenedor. Cuchara, tenedor, cuchillo. That's it, right? 3 utensils.
The other utensils. Servilleta, napkin.
Well, basically, I said all that to say that I'm just glad that we're finally back in the flow of things, and the flow's gonna get better. Right now, it's still new. Joe's still new. We're adapting. We're adapting to the new era, I guess. If it's hopefully it's longer than an era, but we're adapting to the new situation. But yeah, what else is popping this? Oh, actually, Father's Day's coming up, and I'm not ready for Father's Day. I ain't gonna lie. It's my first Father's Day without a father. So I don't even know how to feel. How'd you feel, bro? The first Mother's Day you went through without a mother?
It wasn't as like hard as people like made it up to be, because everyone has a different like perception on grieving and stuff like that.
Right.
So for us it was just like bringing the family together. So it was beautiful to have the whole family together. Yeah, it was an amazing day for real.
But like, I get that, but then when you're on social media and you see everyone posting their moms, I know I have to kind of, not like you're not gonna break down and cry, but like,
so it just makes me happy to see people like appreciating their parent. So that makes me happy. I'm just like,
Perspective.
yeah, like look at
This
all these
guy
people
is-
appreciating.
he's too positive, huh? That's a good thing. I was reading your bio the other day and it said positive only or
Positivity, please.
Positivity,
only, please.
Yeah, and you've been giving me that vibe for sure since I met you. But that's so beautifully said, right? Like, I'm over here expecting like nah, bro, it was hard. Like seeing everybody. He said, no, it was amazing seeing everyone celebrate the.
Yeah.
Yo, that's true maturity right there. That's true maturity, man.
Thank you.
For real, bro. And I wish everyone got to that place of viewing death and grieving like that, man. Because there's not too many people that view it like that. And right now, I'm saying I'm not ready for it. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna cry or not, but just that feeling, bro. Like my whole 28 years of existence, I've had a father, So to the first day and I know it's just a day. Obviously, every day is Father's Day to me, but the emphasis on that day, it sucks. So we have a whole thing planned. We're gonna go to the cemetery, have a little picnic, and be chilling there for a little bit. Take some tortas, some ceviche.
Ooh.
Yeah, bruh. Pour up a little Modelo for him. It's whack right now a little bit just because the cemetery, they haven't put the stone on it, so we're just worshiping a little patch of grass. And I know it's all energy. I know it's like know I get it, but I know people probably like who y'all here for. But we'll see how that goes. That'll be next week, and actually this Sunday, and actually next week we'll have a Father's Day episode, right, Nicole?
Right. The Father's Day is the 19th.
Right, but this drops on Tuesday, so this Sunday is Father's Day.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so next episode will be Father's Day episode. We give you guys a Mother's Day episode. Go listen to that. My mom came on the phone.
Great episode.
That was probably my favorite episode. I'm not gonna lie. We try to find a guest for the third episode, and I just said, why not just have my mom on here? It's a Mother's Day episode, and it worked out better actually. But Father's Day, I wish I could call my dad, but we can't. But I'm excited for Father's Day because I have so much to say about my dad, and that I haven't shared yet. A lot of memories and things like that. And
it'll be a good way for you to honor him and process. I think in a way you might be like dreading it a little bit, or just because it's so new and you're not sure how it's going to feel. I think
that's what I'm scared of, the reopening of the wound.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what most people like are. What happens to most people initially is you don't prepare for death throughout your whole life. And
right.
Sometimes it comes on you pretty sudden, and if you're not thinking about it beforehand, you really don't know how to deal with that problem that presents itself when it does come.
Right.
So I feel like that's what for a lot of people, that's where the majority of the grieving comes from, is it's sudden, you know, like that sudden loss of someone and not being able to make new memories with somebody.
Yeah. Man, like I said this before too, but the hardest part, dude, when someone passes, bro, is just getting used to them not being here. Mm-hmm. It's so simple just to say it like that, but it's just it really is. Like, you're so used to someone being so accessible to you, being a phone call away, a text away, and now it's, you know, and that person happened to be like my role model, my, you know, the person I look up to, the example that I've had my whole life, and it sucks. It really does suck, but you just can't let it defeat you. We had the conversation on the first episode where I think a lot of times death just defeats people. Let it defeat them, and they just their whole mood changes, the way they look at life changes, like in a bad way, right? They let negativity take over, and that to me, like, I saw how I could have became that in the first 3 days, and it scared me. It was just so ugly. I'm like, this ain't me at all. So you just have to switch your perspective, and it's so cliche, but perspective is the key to happiness. However you look at something is how you're gonna interpret it. Like, look, like I said, Joe, just how he views Mother's Day, that's all perspective, you know. Like, that's you have to reach a certain level of maturity to even look at it like that. Not everyone is capable of it, but not everyone gets to that point. So we'll see how the day turns out. It should be nice, you know. My siblings are flying in too, so all of us will be here. So my aunt, my uncle, and aunt, they're going too. I think my cousins that, you know, they're coming through. So we're gonna have a little thing at the cemetery. So we'll see how it plays out. Real quick, shout out to Vegancita. I just want to say shout out to Vegancita because Mel, your conchas are undefeated. I don't care what nobody tells me. People be like, oh, vegan conchas? Yeah, the vegan conchas go crazier than the regular conchas. I don't care what nobody tells me. Like, nobody. And she does cookie stuffed conchas. Like, get out of here. What? And my mom and my brother, they love them. So whenever they're in town, we go crazy. So shout out to Vegancita. I appreciate you. But recalentado, what you're heating up this week, Nicole?
What am I heating up this week?
Wait, are you gonna heat it up in the microwave or in the cazuela, or what are you heating it up in? Cause
I'm gonna go in the cazuela because that's how you should be doing it. So I'm not gonna go into that. You know what I was thinking about regarding our tattoo episode and even college. Actually, I'm gonna go on both. So on the college episode, one of my friends was like, if you know a trade, if you know a skill, that stays with you forever. Like, for example, like construction or building or being able to fix things, because a lot of people don't know how to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, like, that's a really important skill. Like, for example, there was a plumber on my street and I was like, wow, that's a vital skill. People always need plumbers.
Yeah.
Well,
that I didn't send you the reel about trade school.
Yes, you did.
You haven't posted it then, right?
I haven't posted.
Okay,
it.
I was gonna say, because I thought I saw the comment and I thought she was saying it to that post. So when I saw the whole post, I'm like, wait, it's not even the one about the trade school. So I was crazy that she said that because she's in our mind. We said the same thing.
Yes, people get it. Like, sometimes it's not. You don't have to have a degree. You could have a skill.
You don't a skill. I said this. The skill goes with you to the grave. No one can ever take a skill away from you. Obviously, if you get injured or something happens to you, then obviously, but
yeah,
at the end of the day, your brain still knows how to do it. You're just not capable of doing it.
And you can teach other people. And it just keeps on going. And then,
especially nowadays too, all this media stuff. There's so much skills that
media is allowing people. So I want to learn how to knit. This is really random, but you could find ladies on YouTube, because I'm left-handed. So most people will teach right-handed. So you can find like left-handed knitting and learn from a video. You could learn so much.
Man,
There's
shout
so
out
much
to everyone that goes to the University of YouTube. For real.
To learn. Yes.
For real. Like, always, anytime you want to do something, just type in how to do this. This is on YouTube, and if you can't find it, you make the video, and that is gonna go up.
That's gonna be
People need people like yo. Everyone, even right now, we're trying to fix this whole picture-in-picture thing on this, so I can have you on the screen and everything. And I'm over here on YouTube, just following the steps and everything. But sometimes you just don't find the ones that you don't word it the way they word it, and it bugs you because it's like, I need this though. Like I did this already, but how do I do this? And maybe I have to create it, but I'm trying to, that's when like, my whole brain starts working, and then it's like, okay, I need time where I just focus on this. Because sometimes I try to figure out things in the middle of like doing other things, and I'm not putting my full attention on it. I don't like that. Like earlier, I was trying to set everything up, but at the same time, I realized, I should. Last week we were having troubles with this little frame thing on the thing, so I started looking into it, and I didn't end up setting everything up before Joe showed up. I just got stuck trying to figure out the video thing. So I'm like, I could have just done that earlier when I had all the time in the world, but I'm right here right now. So let me try to figure it out and end up not wasting time, but it just, I'm half butting it.
Yeah,
it's so crazy how my mind's already programmed on this show to watch out for the cuss words. Yeah, but when I'm on other ones, is you let them fly. But it's crazy because I noticed on when I record OB now too, I cuss less naturally. Like I don't say it as much anymore. And I want to step away from the cussing too, because it's such a crutch to just cuss and use it as filler words when you don't want to think of
the right word to express yourself.
It's like saying just the S word for everything. Like, pass me that ish, pass me this ish, pass me that. Like, why can't you say pass me the laptop, pass me the cup, pass me the But pass me that, pass me the blunt. No, pass me that. I can't wait till we do the weed episode because we're going on the camera and just censor the whole smoke.
It's just all blur.
We're just gonna switch to your camera angle real quick while I hit it.
Have you seen that How I Met Your Mother, where they're eating sandwiches, but it's to represent them smoking? So every time they're eating sandwiches.
Damn, that was a good show. I saw every episode too. That was a good one.
That's a good show.
One. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely.
So recalentado for me. Okay, I said last episode that I was gonna bring up iconic celebrity tattoos for my reheat up, but I realized I googled iconic tattoos, and I came to realization that I named most of them, and a lot of the ones that I named weren't even top tattoos. They had a lot of the white people tattoos, and like I don't care about Katy Perry's Hello Kitty tattoo on her finger. Like that's not iconic when you can't see that. She has to show you it.
Small.
She has to. Yo, this is my tattoo. They had a Selena Gomez little heart in the back of her, a tiny little heart. Like, how's this iconic? They had David Beckham's.
No, he has a whole sleeve.
Yeah, but I guess that what they had was his tramp stamp, and I thought that was very pause. But he had Beckham right above his his butt. I'm like, okay, I guess I didn't know that was iconic, but okay. And the only ones that I found that I missed that I was like, oh yeah, that's a good one is The Rock. The sleeve, the tribal thing with the half of the chest, and then what's his name? Johnny Depp, the Jack Sparrow tattoo that he has on his arm. Other than that, none of these websites had anybody from the culture. They ain't had no Lil Wayne. They didn't have, the only person they did have was Mike Tyson. They didn't have no Tupac. They didn't have no Eve. So I named a lot of them. So I'm like, yo, I was that was out of nowhere. I just remembered them and said it. So I'm not reheating up. That was like a 30-second heat up on the microwave.
Yeah, that was
it's still cold in the inside.
Kat Von D, you had mentioned
Kat Von D. No, yeah, we didn't bring up Kat Von D last episode. And that's a shame. That's a shame. And it triggered my mind because she came up on the list, and I'm like, wow. Section. Not only is Kat Von D such a big like tattoo person, but she changed tattoo culture.
She
did. Period. Like she took tattoo TV to a different level. She's the reason why you have a Black Ink, why you have the Miami Inks, why you have the Ink Masters, all based off the initial show that she was on, right? And yeah, it's iconic. The little stars on her, like Kat Von D definitely changed the game. I think she even inspired so many females or women to really start getting tattoos. Yeah. Yeah. And just start going crazy and being artistic with it, because a lot of times women, you know, they would get the little ones that, like you said last episode, where they would just to hide them, to conceal them. And I think she just broke that mold where it's like, oh, we can have them on our faces, we can have them on this. And I don't even think men knew they were attracted to women with tattoos till Kat Von D, to be honest.
And she also like paved the way for women-owned tattoo shops.
Yeah. Another fact. What
was the name of her show again?
Oh, what was the name of her show? I have no idea.
No sé.
But it was a big show because she got a spin. Well, she got her own show when she was on someone else's show. That's how she got big, because she was dating someone that was a tattoo artist, I think, at the time, and then she became a big tattoo artist. What is it?
LA Ink.
LA Ink. Huh? Yeah. So man, I was just like, yo, I forgot about tattoo, because like, and then now we have even like tattoo. You know who Tattoo Baby is? I think that's her name. Tattoo. I'm not sure that's her name. She's from Miami. She's like a Latina also, and she's all tatted up, and she's a famous tattoo artist. When I was in Miami, my cousin was getting tatted up from her. She got a shout out to my cousin Becky B. She got a Scorpio tatted on her back, a big piece. A scorpion. And Tattoo Baby did it, so we met her and everything. And I didn't know about her. But my cousin put me on, and then when we got to her shop, I'm like, yo, this is all because of Kat Von D. Like, she inspired all this. Like, she changed the game. So I just have to give props. That's why I wanted to bring her up. That was definitely a good heat up. That's hot all around. That was Cazuela heat up. Well,
here we are.
Technical difficulties AF. And I'm being a little girl about it, and I'm mad, and I just want to throw a tantrum.
It's okay.
It's not okay. It's not okay. We just had a whole 30 minutes talking about how I pride myself on product, to then just be like, sorry, no lo siento. No.
But the reality is we have a technical difficulty. That's real life. We're working through it.
No.
And that's that.
I don't like reason and logic when I'm mad.
Well, I can't. Sorry. No lo siento. I can't help you.
Trust me, you're not the only one.
I know I'm not the only one, bro. But it's just like potting, like, people don't understand. This episode ain't gonna be about church. We're gonna be about potting. La Plática and potting.
Today's Plática is all about podcasting and the challenges.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean,
it's just.
This is real life. This is like the.
It's real life, but I can't let it get to me. And I know everything post production, it gets handled. But I think because I do my post production, I try to be less editing as possible. So you get me? So
yeah, for sure.
You're trying to avoid it being like so difficult. I don't know if that's the right wording for it.
Tedious.
You want it to be very streamlined and more simplified. And then when there are these challenges, it creates more work.
It does.
It becomes super
It's
tedious.
just time efficiency. I want to be efficient with my time, and video editing is not easy. It's not fast, and I don't have the hardware that's rendering things hella fast. I don't have things that are just working out super fast. So I have to work with what I have, and sometimes I just have to step away, let it render, come back, handle what I got to handle, and yeah, I want to do the least amount as possible. That's why, earlier Joe was saying, well, you have all the camera angles. Why can't you? I'm like, yeah, I could do that, but
damn. Dang.
You can do it, but you don't want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if I have to do it, I'll do it. But yeah, it's a longer process, which means everything gets pushed back again, which means clips is gonna take longer to get to. And I understand that, right now your time, we're putting the work in, so a lot of my time is just going into the potting world. But I haven't just even had a day. Like, since my mom's been here, every day I'm editing still. Every day I've been in this room editing. And I just really step out to eat. If they're going somewhere real quick, I'll go with them. But sometimes I tell myself, like, because Fridays are the days that I don't do nothing, where I used to have 2 jobs. So Fridays was the only day I would have off. I wouldn't pot on Fridays. Nothing creative wise I'm doing on Fridays. Like, I just want Fridays to myself. And I know when you're trying to get to somewhere and you on a mission and you're trying to build something, like, there ain't no time off. There ain't no time off. Every time you have to put into what you're trying to do. And I've noticed that I'm I'm starting to do that where I'm just every free time that I have, it's okay, do a video, do a reel, or do this, do that, work on the outline, work on this. And I don't want to say I don't like
doing that.
I don't want to say I don't like it. It's just I still want to do my other stuff that doesn't have to do with potting, but in order to get to that, I have to make it the most time efficient here. So that's why it goes back to I want everything to just flow nicely and be already nice to go when it's time to just upload. Because in reality, once this is done, I can really just upload the video if I wanted to. It's already an MP4, but there's just no color grade to it. There's just basic raw video, but it's done. The chops are done, the flips and everything is done, so I can literally just throw it up. But no, I have to go in post-production and fix it and make it look nice because it bugs me.
Above and beyond. Right. You're going above and beyond. And right now it's the challenge of like trying to find balance, put in all the work to get the result. Once we get these results, and then it'll be different.
Sure, once I get the results, I'm not doing any of this. For real. For real. That's on God.
One thing I can say though is you can visually see the passion in what you're doing, because like if you're not getting upset at these small things like that, and you're not getting frustrated with everything flowing, like that's passion. You're passionate about what you're doing and doing it at the highest level you can do it. So it like you see me smiling, even though like
this guy's so positive.
Passion, dude.
I love it, but damn, man. Even when I'm having a bad time, like how can I be mad? Now I'm like, how can I be mad? You're right. It's passion. I'm not mad. I'm passionate.
Yeah, that's exactly
He's
what it
passionate.
Tengo pasión, okay?
Yes.
All right, but since since I said on God, and speaking of God, today's Plática is definitely about the house of God, Misa, church. And growing up, it definitely was a thing. I think for a lot of our culture, like Hispanic culture, well, I think a lot of cultures really, a lot of people go to church. It's like a common practice in a lot of religions. I mean, in different cultures, but just different religions. But in ours, it's a thing because I don't know why. I just feel like our culture they place a big emphasis on like God and Jesucristo, la Virgen de Guadalupe, and going to church. It makes you a better person, and you have to worship God one day out of the week, and it's all He deserves. He died for your sins. So I understand how is the emphasis that they place on church, and. Yeah, I was there every weekend, every Sunday. I was forced to be at church, and not forced like they grabbed me by like the arm. I was like, "No, you're going to church." It's just you don't have an option when you're at mom and dad's house, and they want to go to church every Sunday. You have to suck it up and go to church every Sunday. But I was definitely that kid that. Oh damn! It's like 9:30. You haven't said anything about church. We're not going this week, and we would go to church still this week. And I'm so horrible, but I didn't enjoy it. I really did not enjoy going to church. And
you never enjoyed it. There was never a time that you were just like, "Ooh, I'm excited. We're gonna go to church."
The only reason I would be excited to go to church is because my cousins would be at church.
Okay.
And there's be this thing at our church where. I don't know if it I don't know if it's every church, but they take like the little kids go to a separate little mass type of thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So at my church, they had like a room where like the mothers and the babies could go. I never went in there. I sat next to my dad.
That's definitely on the outline, but that's what we would spend every Sunday. We would be in the cry room because with the glass because of the kids. We were kids and we were loud, and that was the room where the kids could be kids and the parents would just be like, well, we have to come to church still, but we can't with the little ones, so we just have them in here. But I'm talking about like we had this part of church where before the actual mass started, they would come and take the kids, not come and take whoever volunteered to go. They would take them to another room, and they would have like a mass, but like for little kids so they can understand it. It wouldn't be like the mass the way
that's cool
for the adults. But I used to like going to that because my cousins weren't in the crying room. Their parents had them in the actual church, right? We were in the crying room, and every time it was time for that we would all just meet up at the room. We just my cousins live right next door to me, so not like I never saw them. We spent so much time together, but we're at church and we can kick it still, so we would do a lot of that, and that was fun because you're with your cousins and you're joking and you're playing, and We're not learning about church, really. You know.
You don't think that's like embracing the church vibe though? Just
this guy's good.
Agape love you have. For
this guy's good.
I like that.
I guess so. I guess I was embracing it because I enjoyed it, and that's probably the only thing I look forward to as a kid.
The family aspect of it all.
The family aspect. Well, just kicking it with my cousins. Kicking it with my cousins, and then being in that little cry room, like I was paying attention less. I was always like looking at how other kids were crying. I was just always paying attention to other kids, you know, like the ones that were crazy, always moving up and down. It's like, bro, you gotta relax. Like it's too much moving right now. Like, of course your mom's mad. Like,
you know what? I never went into any of those rooms. Neither did my brother. It was always, okay, se tienen que portar bien. You have to act, be on your best behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because, Renee and I would just kind of sit there. I know my brother would like zone out, but I would pay attention. But it would be funny to see like the moms who wouldn't put their kids in the crying room and then give them the coscorrones during church. Like
that was a lot of times too.
pinching them during church or like hitting them. And it's like, we're in church.
I just like play fighting with my brother though. A lot of times, like just like teasing him, like just putting my leg on him or like moving over until my mom was like, cálmate, she gives you that look like, just wait till we get home. Just wait till we get home. You gonna get it. But honestly, I'm lying. You know what's the best part about church every week? I don't know about everybody else's church, but my church, every Sunday after mass, they had donuts for us in the hall.
Oh, I didn't.
Donuts and coffee every time. And I remember me and my cousins, we used to go out there because we liked a certain kind of donuts, and we needed to get those donuts. The not the glazed, the sugary ones. The sugary ones.
Those are so
Bro, when I was little, I would go crazy with those. So we'd run over there to get that, and that was every Sunday. So every time after church, I used to get mad when my parents were like, "No, we're gonna go get something to eat. You're not gonna get donuts." I'm like, "Yo, but there's donuts, yo. We could get a donut and still go get something to eat. Like, what are you talking about?" But that was the best thing about church. I ain't gonna lie. That was my favorite thing about church.
Our church would have like full barbecues after church. Like every Sunday, full like greens, beans, like all types of everything you can imagine you want to eat. Like full buffet every Sunday.
Wow. Nice. What religion is this?
This is Christianity.
Christian?
Yeah, it's Christian.
Wow. I know there's a lot of, I always see people that go to church. There's some people that share their church experiences that they have like a lit like time at church. Mm-hmm. A lot of singing, a lot of dancing, a lot of community, a lot of like just doing things together, bringing lively people. A lot of people have friends from the church. Like I'm pretty sure you have a lot of homies that you came up with in the church, or no?
Because the church was so far, they were friends at church.
At church, yeah.
I wouldn't make the trip out to LA to that was an hour drive
to hang out with them.
Yeah, that was an hour drive, and I was only 14, so it was an even longer bus ride. I wasn't gonna hang out.
Yeah.
But we literally had 7 a.m. to midnight on Sundays, so
wow,
that's enough hanging out for the week.
Because I don't think I never did that in church though. Like we never had now present time, my mom, where she lives at now and like the church she goes to now, she does have a lot of church friends and just like that because she moved to a new state and everything, so she got to know a lot of the people from the church. But here we never did a lot of things with the church like that, food or barbecues. Like my mom never had like, she knew people at the church, but my mom was never the type to have like friends, It's like, yeah, I know them, and I'm a catechist with them, and I see them at church, but it wasn't ever about, yo, come bring the kids and let's do a potluck, or let's bring a carne asada, let's have that here. Like it was never about that with people from church. And my mom does that with like my tias and family members, but people from the church, it was never really like community based. And so now recently she's they helped out with my sister's wedding, so like a lot like they were there putting in work.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's nice to see that the sense of community that my mom has now because of church. But here, we weren't doing nothing with church people. My tia would go to church. She lives next door to us, so it's like we just have a kind of saw that here. We don't have to really do much of anything like that.
Do you remember learning anything at church that kind of like dictated how you operate in your day-to-day life?
I don't think so. I think that came more so from my parents.
I feel that.
Like, just showing me, but I never would have the church. Cause like I said earlier, like I never paid attention. So even like thinking about when I used to go to church, I don't remember a time where like I walked out with, wow, that was so deep. Like with the Father was spitting today. I never walked out with that, with those sentiments. I never did. So now you say that, I'm thinking like, what did I learn at church? Because even when I got older, bro, cause I stopped going around 15, 16 to church. Even when I was that age, I was just there like in my own head. Like I wasn't like paying attention to the scriptures or what he's reading or what they're trying to relate it to or, tie it into. I was just there thinking about school, thinking about, the person I was talking to, thinking about just, I don't want to be here, like just thinking about that. It was never about, wow, that was deep.
Listening.
Yeah, let me take that. Even till this day, as sad as it is, till this day, the last time I went to church was, I don't know if it counts, but my dad's funeral thing, and then we had another family member that had theirs too. But I don't think that counts as church. But even then, like I'm not there listening to what the priest is saying. I'm like in my own head.
You're not comprehending. You're just kind of present.
Yeah. I'm never like, that's good.
See, for me, like as a child, because we went to church every single Sunday with my dad, and we went to catechism. I don't know if it was just the type of kid that I was. Like I had a lot. I could focus, and at one point, like fun fact, true story, I had the Bible memorized in Spanish. Like we went so much that when the priest would read certain parts of the Bible, or certain parts of Mass in Spanish, I would like talk with him because it was fun to me. Like I was like, oh, I know what he's going to say next. And I would just like, when a kid watches like the same movie over and over and they know the words, that's how I felt with church.
Because it's the same curriculum like year round, right?
Curriculum. And I mean, I just like, I knew my prayers.
Scriptures, that's a curriculum. That was bad.
I knew my prayers and all in Spanish. I mean, everything's in Spanish. Like if you ask me to say something in English, I won't know, but I enjoyed it. I thought Jesus was like this magical man who had like magic hands. Like that's how I viewed him when I went to church. And I was just like in awe, like, wow, he was so magical. And I don't know. Then after a while, I just saw what was going on in the church itself. And then I don't know, something clicked where it was like, these people aren't following. I don't know. I was one of those kids that was like, well, how come they aren't following the rules? But I'm supposed to follow the rules, but these people aren't following the rules, or because my dad was on the committee. So sometimes we'd have to stay after, go to the cafeteria and wait for him. And then I'm like, why are the señoras gossiping and talking about these people when we just got out of church? Like it didn't make sense to me. Like it like in my mind, observing as a very observant child.
People just think they're holier than thou because they attend church.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like a check in the box, like, hey, I sat in church.
I look at it more like I did my good deed, my good Samaritan deed of the week, and I went to church. So I'm a good person. The other day at work, it was weird, right? This is older lady. I want to call her like old lady, but she is older and she's super sweet, super nice and sweet. And the other day the other day I asked her, she said something. And I'm like, oh, you go to church? And then she goes, I don't know why people ask me that. And I'm like, ask you what? She goes like that if I go to church. And I said, why? And she goes like, don't I look like I go to church? And I said, I mean, how am I supposed to assume you go to church? And she goes like, I don't like. She said, I don't give you that that vibe that I go to church. And I said, I don't know what that vibe is, and I told her, I was like, I'm like, just because you're a good person, I can't assume you go to church. Like, there's a lot of good people that don't go to church. And she goes, yeah, that's kind of true. And then the other girl that was sitting next to her, she was even looking at her like kind of like, how is he supposed to know that it's obvious you go to church? Like I don't know. But she was kind of like, I don't give that vibe off. And it's like, I don't know what the vibe is, like.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I don't put that. That's not, that don't correlate with me. That you're a good person, it means you go to church. Yeah. That doesn't, my brain doesn't go there.
But there's a lot of people whose brain does go there.
Right. But those people, the people fake sometimes. Most of the times, People are fake. People that go to church and they're all about Jesus and God like that be the same ones that are sinning like crazy. Be the same ones that are be into, lusting and infidelity and all
coveting
that stuff.
thy neighbor's wife.
All that. They disregard all the sacraments, or all the commandments. I mean, they don't pay attention to none of them sacraments. But I went to church and I confess, so I'm good and God got me.
What is your thought now that you say confess? What was your thought originally about confession when it was first presented to you?
Well, when it first was presented to me, I just thought it was regular, Like, I thought it was part of church, and I come to church, so it's something we have to do. Not when I got older, it's just like, oh, that's nasty. Like, who knows what these people, like, how these, First of all, there's no man that can, save you from your sins or whatever, or can cure you from your sins, or that can forgive your sins. I mean, there's no man that got that type of power over you, right? That's just me personally. Just because this person went to a church school or did some type of Bible study that gave him the ranks of being a priest, that don't mean you closer to God than I am, bro. I don't care what nobody tells me. Now I look at it like that, right?
I agree with you on that.
And then now it's like they want you to confess like the crazy things too, right? Like, oh, I had sex with this person, or I did this, I did that, and who knows who's getting off to all this stuff, right?
I just never, from when I was a child, when they talked about confession, it honestly gave me some sort of anxiety. I didn't understand it as a child, as 7 years old, 8 years old. I was like, why do I need to tell this person what I did wrong? And you know how they consider sin, pensamiento, palabra, obra, en omisión, which is thoughts, words, things that you omit.
Yeah.
All of that. So I was like, why do I have to tell a man this in this little creepy, dark box of a room when I can just tell God what I did wrong?
Exactly.
Or why not acknowledge like, ooh, I shouldn't have done that today.
But even what you said earlier, Nicole, at 7, 8 years old, what sins are you really doing?
Okay, so I only did one confession, true story. I think I got out of one. The line was too long and I was just like not doing it because I just didn't like it. But it was like dumb stuff. Like when I went to confession, I'm sure it's a faux pas that I'm sharing this, but it was like, I got into a fight with my brother and I hit him. Like, what is a child confessing?
Like now that I'm an adult, like now confessing would, to me, it'd be like way more heavier things, And even then, like I'm not like someone that got all these crazy sins on me, but yeah, certain lusting and if that is a sin, if all that stuff is a sin, then yeah, I would have to confess about things like that. But at 8, 7 years old, I ain't really thinking about sex. I ain't really thinking about like cussing, or I never had ill intentions to hurt somebody. So like evil intentions to really do something to someone, I've never had that. So it's like, what am I really confessing about? I'm not committing adultery at 8 years old. I'm not cheating on my wife, or I'm not doing none of that stuff. Like, what do you mean?
I didn't clean my room today.
Yes. Oh, that's good. That's a good thing he brought it up, because we didn't even say what religion we're referring to, because we grew up Catholicism. Yeah.
And
Catholic.
Does the priest talk back to you in confession?
Yes.
So have you guys ever what's your take on therapy?
I never done therapy.
So I will answer that. I've done therapy, and I always thought when I did confession, because it's like this dark little box and you don't to me, it was creepy. I'm not going to lie. That's what I thought as a child. I thought it was creepy. It was not my thing. Therapy is different because you're looking at the person and they're not telling you to, say 5 Holy Mary, Hail Mary, say 10 Our Fathers, and go tell your mom that you love her and that you're sorry for not cleaning your room. It's like a therapist is like, well, okay, these are the issues. Let's work on, the root of the problem. Let's find out how you feel. So,
therapy walks you through the issue. The priest is more like, I don't do that. Say this, you out, you good.
Say this, say your prayers, ask for forgiveness. I forgive you.
And how do they even determine that? Depending on the sin, they tell you have to do all these? Because sometimes, brother, it'd be like, think about it. I'm 7, 8 years old, 10 years old, going in there confessing, and then they're telling me, say five Our Fathers, 3 Hail Marys, and 2 Glory Bees to the God, whatever. And it's like, and now I look back and it's like, yo, all that, like, that's for like the minor sins that I had, the kid sins I had, I guess. Like,
yeah.
but I wonder if it was
like,
just
is there a formula?
Yeah, like how do you justify, you know, who gets what prayer for what sins? But I think now I look back, it's probably just to mold the kids and to get used to like this being a thing.
Yeah,
because a lot of people that don't question things. Like, it's just part of how they grew up, part of how things are. So now they're my age and they're still like, oh, I have to go confess. And they don't even think too deep about it. It's just, oh, it's part of my religion. I want to get the body of Christ, because in order to get the body of Christ, bro, and the blood of Christ, you need to confess. Technically, you need to be clean of your sins. If you haven't confessed, then you should skip out this week and not consume the body of Christ and the blood of Christ.
Which I did never, ever did I consume.
Yo, since we're talking about the body of Christ, yo, hold on, Nicole, because I'm probably gonna lose a lot of people at this point, and I probably shouldn't say this, but that was nasty.
The bread and the
bread, the wheat. It was like nasty wheat thins.
I loved it. I used to go into the back, and I used to grab a handful, dude, and I would just eat them all throughout church. And they're like, all right, it's
so
time.
Dry.
They're like, it's time, and I'm like, well, I'm already done. I'm full.
Nah, I couldn't do it. I can't do it. Yo, it's so bad. I'm gonna say it though. It's so bad. It's so bad because our church really catered to the kids, right? Or like to the kids, because they obviously, you know, they want to get us like involved in the church, not involved, but they want us to engage, right? So for the kids, they would always they would make a whole different type of body, like the body of Christ. They would make a whole different type of bread.
Wow.
It was like a fat little square, and it was like spongy. That was fire. Fire. I'm not even gonna lie. It was so fire. So I used to love going on the kid line and getting that one. I used to want that one. I used to enjoy it, to smack on it. I used to love it. But then when you get older, you can't get that one no more. You have to get the wheat ones. I remember one time I used to try liking it too, like just put it in your mouth, let it dissolve, pause, let it dissolve, and then just swallow it. It'll be done. But it would, like, I would gag because it was so, it just had a weird taste to it. So I remember one time, because again, we used to go to the crying room, right? So the crying room, you had to exit out through the side of the church, and then go into the main church, and then go down the aisle, get the bread, and then get back out, and then go back out, and then, you know, go back to the crying room. So I got the bread, I got the body of Christ, you know, I threw it, I popped it in my mouth. I was walking away, and I just started making a face because I was like, it's not hitting. It's not good. So as soon as I get outside, I go behind the bushes and just spit it out. I swear, bro, I swear. And I told my mom that story like honestly like a month or two ago. And she was like, really? You did that? I'm like, I used to hate. Sometimes I wouldn't confess on purpose just because I don't want to take the
body just good off of it.
I never drank the wine. No. I thought it was nasty to sip out of the same cup as everybody. That was gross. That was gross.
Thank you.
Was it actually wine?
It was wine.
Oh, okay.
It was wine. I just never did it because
we had grape juice.
That's pretty fire. I would have loved some grape juice.
It was delicious.
I like grape juice.
I just thought it was because my dad was always like, don't drink out of someone else's cup. You know, when you're little, like, don't share a cup. So I'm like, why am I going to put my mouth on something that all these people have put their mouth on? And the priest is just wiping it with the little pañuelo handkerchief.
And it ain't even a disinfectant wipe. It's just a little rag. Like, and it's so nasty. You don't think about it, but that's so unsanitary. That's so unsanitary. You don't know what these people have in their saliva, their DNA. You don't know what they have, and you over here just, we're at church. Everyone should be clean.
Since COVID, what changes do you think they've made to that ceremony?
That's true. They probably don't do that.
I have no idea.
They probably don't do that. If anything, they probably have little like cups
or is God just going to save them from COVID? Maybe.
Shots. It's like a tray, and you just grab one and take a little sip. I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't been to.
So we used to have individual cups.
Oh, word.
They would pass out individual.
Wow.
That's
better.
Through the entire church.
That is.
Everyone
That's
had like a little plastic one.
Yeah. Wow.
Very sanitary.
Smart. That's smart. We know Mexicans like to share everything, bro. So. It's okay. Your brother had used it, but you can use it too. You can use his toothbrush. You guys are brothers.
I was gonna ask, what's the rules on like criminal activity if you were to confess that? If you're like, I have somebody, I'm holding them hostage currently.
Wow, I never got to that deep.
I never got to tell.
Priests can't tell the cops anything, right?
They can't.
They can't tell anything.
They cannot. I'm not sure though. I think if it's like harming someone else,
because I know therapists. If you're
therapists are buying.
If you're causing, or if your intent is to cause damage to yourself, immediate damage to yourself or to somebody else, they're allowed to tell the law enforcement.
They're allowed to report it.
Oh, word?
I don't know. Yeah, they are. If
Religion excludes itself from everything legal. So who knows what they have in place for that?
Well, I'm going to say this and it's going to ruffle some feathers. How do you expect an organization, well, I guess you would consider a church an organization,
for sure,
to go ahead and step into criminal activity when own members of their congregation are committing crimes within their church all over?
I think a report just went out recently that said like the billions of dollars they spent just to attorney fees and all that stuff. Specifically, the Catholic Church, like it's
specifically.
I don't want to go there. I'm not gonna go there, but
yeah, specifically, I've seen firsthand how the church covers all of that up.
The church don't play, man. That's one entity you cannot play with.
I was at a church one time and they were just talking about like accepting money, and they were like, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It just matters where your heart is when you give it to the church. And I'm like, is that your way of accepting, ugly, dirty money?
Yo, now that you brought up money, I didn't put it in the outline, but the donation aspect of church. Look, when I used to go to church when I was young, I remember when there used to be one donation for the whole mass. Right before we the body of Christ, we took the body of Christ and everything like that. They would go around and collect the money. The last time in 2017, I was talking to this chick and she kind of like, she wanted to go to church. She wanted to start going to church. She wasn't really a church goer, but she wanted to start going. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go with you to this mass. And I hadn't gone for like a long time already. So it was my first time back in church, like an actual Spanish mass, and get the whole feel of, being around like my people, cause I usually always go to like an English mass or anything, So I go in the church and, actually, I went. I had gone to her church, but then I went to my church here with my brother. Eventually, I kept going. I went like 2 more weeks after I went with her, and then I went, and I got turned off so quick after that first time I went to my church. It was because we went, and I noticed, bruh, they asked for 4 donations. 4 donations within the hour. They asked. They asked, and then there was the one that got me so tight was the last one. They made, it was like a kid donation. They would tell the parent, like the kids, the parents would give the kids money, and the kids would go all the way to the front and drop it off. So just to engage, and the kids be like, "Oh, I'm gonna get $1. Let me get this. Let me get that." And I didn't like that. I was like, 4 times, like who knows if this is the last dollar some people have, but you guys have brainwashed them to the point where if you give your tithes to, what did I say, tithes? That's what I say, right? Tithe to the church, then you're blessed and God's going to look out for you, right? I don't like that. I don't like how people think that putting the last dollar in there is going to help them out.
It's going to magically do something. I can relate to that. So when my grandmother was, at the end of her life, I was feeling kind of lost. And I was like, well, when I was a kid, I really loved church, right? So maybe I need to go back to that. So I remember talking to my abuelita and I was like, oh, I'm going to start going to mass on Tuesday, Spanish mass, even Tuesday evenings. And the first time I go in, I told her, I'm going to go to church. I just felt really lost. I thought, what do you do when you're lost? You go to church, right? And so I end up sitting there and the priest starts talking, it's time for the donation. And he says in Spanish, he's like, you're going to open your wallet and you're going to want to just give $1. But you expect God to do all these things for you. So don't you think you should put like $20?
Oh my God.
And I'm literally sitting there just a wreck because I'm depressed. My grandma's dying. I'm trying to find something to give me. And then I have a priest telling me that I need to put more money in here. I put $2 in there, and that was the last time I ever stepped in a church. Besides a funeral, I was like, I'm done with this. Like,
that's wild.
I was just
Yo, if prayer really did have a price, what? If prayers were answered by money, What? What?
Yeah.
You know how many prayers I would have had answered by now? How much to make the pot go big, bro? Come on, God. How much? How much you want?
How much?
Like, put me in the algorithm. Do something, you know? Finesse it. Finesse it. Imagine the priest tells you, like, that's a cool 100,000.
I was in shock.
That's wild. Putting a price on prayer. That's crazy. They said, you want him to do all this, but you only give him $1. So you only get one little prayer.
A couple quarters isn't enough. That's what he said. And I'm like, well, what if that's their last quarter? What if they don't have any money?
They don't care.
What if all I need is like one blessing?
Well, that's true. What if all I need is food? Like, I think that's worth $1, right? Like, I don't know, man, but it's so evil. It's so evil in the church. And like I said, we're gonna ruffle feathers, on this one, because the older crowd is listening. Then I can see how they get triggered. But I want to ask you, Nicole, how is it being in a household where one parent is into church and the other one's completely not into church? How does that dynamic even work?
Well, I'll give my mom props, because my mom was like, okay, if you want to take them to church, then take them to church. My mom wasn't into that.
But why is it if your dad wants to take you to church, why isn't it that like, oh, I don't want them to go to church, so no?
Because I think she knew that my dad was into that. So she was like, if he wants to take you guys, he can take you guys.
Okay.
But it wasn't like, she wasn't preventing us from going, but that was what we did with our dad. And
he never cared that she went or not?
No. I mean, it was just, my mom just doesn't feel like you need to go to church to have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And even my abuelita, she didn't go to church every Sunday. She prayed her rosary in her room early in the morning. She did her prayers throughout the day. So once in a while my mom would go to, if we went to midnight mass, and my grandparents would go too, but it just wasn't for her. She just didn't connect in that way. And so my dad never really fought her on it or said anything. It was like, I think my dad felt like it was his duty to, well, I'm going to take them to church because it was so important to his mom, because it kind of just falls down the line. But then it just kind of fizzled out, and I was okay with that.
Yeah, that's interesting, because a lot of times when people get together, one usually takes the other side, like one usually gives in, like in my situation, like my dad, my grandma did take him to church and stuff like that, but I think there's something about men that they're like whatever about church sometimes. And sometimes it's usually women that are more so into the church. So my mom was big on church. Like my mom's mom, my grandma, she never took my mom to church. Like never would take her to church. But my mom wanted to go to church every Sunday. So she would always take her little sister, and they would go to church. She would take herself to church and go through church. So when she got with my dad, like my dad wasn't really big on church. Like he wasn't the one that said every week, like, oh, let's go to church, let's go do this. It was more so my mom that wanted to do that. And my dad would just, give in and just be like, yeah, let's go, Like it doesn't hurt to go 1 hour. You do everything all week, and 1 hour you can't give to God. That's how he would. That's how he would look at it. So yeah, that's just funny how like I can't see my mom really being into church and my dad just being like, you can go, handle.
Yeah, that's how.
Especially with the kids, like it's like, how do you pick who gets to like instill whatever into them? Like.
Well, that's a discussion. I think that's an easier concept when both individuals are of the same religion.
Oh, I didn't even factor that.
Because if you are married to someone who isn't your religion, then how do you choose what religion you're going to raise your child in? I mean, I know most cultures, they say that whatever the man's religion is, that's what you're going to raise the child to fall under.
Right.
Is that sinful to marry someone outside of your religion?
I can see how they can convince people that it is sinful, but I don't think
Well, if you want to get married by the Catholic Church, I believe that you both have to be Catholic.
Well, yeah.
But
The Catholic Church is the only one that has that like a heavy emphasis. I mean, getting married by the Catholic Church is the only one that has like that type of like heaviness to it. Or no?
I would think so. In the Christian church, like I don't remember anything being like, oh, if you're a different religion, you can't get married here.
Well, in Catholicism too, you can never get divorced. You're always gonna be married by the church to the church.
Oh yeah,
no matter what.
Okay.
Like you can be married, through the court and everything. You can get divorced through there, but in the eyes of the church, you're always gonna be married. There's no going back.
Oh wow!
It's really death do you part.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times in our culture, we see people that are not really happy with each other that stay with each other because of religion, right? Because like this is who I've had kids with, this is who I've been with, and even if they're not happy because they know they can't. In their eyes, is like, I don't care if I'm not happy, but I got married by the church and I'm doing a disservice to God by trying to end this, marriage. No matter if they're getting cheated, beaten, whatever, bro. Like a lot of times women get stuck in that. I'm married by the church.
They're right. Did you ever watch The Sopranos?
Mm-mm.
So in The Sopranos, he's in the mob and they're Italian, they're Catholic, and the wife, Carmela, she talks to a priest on the show. And she's like, I know he's cheating on me. And the priest knows what he does. And she's like, I've thought about it. And he's like, oh, no, you can't get divorced. You don't say divorce, It's like, but it's like you're fully aware of all of his actions.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like a big faux pas, if you get, it's always like, that Thea, they got divorced. Oh, she got divorced, And it's like, why is it such a big deal? Why would God want you to be sad in a marriage, in a lifelong partnership that doesn't bring you joy?
That's why go ahead.
Even to get married, though, don't you have to be isn't confirmation part of it? So if you don't have your confirmation, you still can't get married through the church. It's
a good segue right there, because that'll lead us into the sacraments. And you definitely need all sacraments to even get married. You need to have baptism, communion, confirmation in order to get to the to the marriage part.
Can you give me like a general overview of those things?
Like baptism, communion, confirmation?
Yeah.
So baptism, you guys have baptism, right? So that's basically like clearing, your original sin, which is coming to the earth, out of the Adam stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the baptism. Communion is like the first time that you take the body of Christ and the blood of Christ. Mm. So they initiate that, but I don't know the significance of it. And like the confirmation is more like your bar mitzvah. Mm. Like you're confirming to this religion, and at this point, like you're old enough to like, okay, this is the one what I want to. This is the religion I want to take, and this is where I'm gonna go down the path. And then usually it goes marriage. So you need to complete all those before you can get married by the Catholic Church. Mm. It's a business.
I did not confirm.
Yeah, it's a business.
I didn't confirm.
Cause then, like, I remember when, like, my mom, if you're in Mexico, bro, you could do all that in one day. You could do your baptism, communion, confirmation, all in one day. But here in the States, you have to. The baptism is now. I think you have to take classes to even before your kid gets baptized, and then communion, you have to go to catechism, the church school, for 2 years to get your confirmation. Do catechism, and then confirmation too. You have to do 2-3 years to do it. So you can't do it all at once here in the States. You have to go to Mexico and do it all at once over there. So every year, every enrollment, bro, that's money right there.
Yeah, definitely.
It's money, man. Like it's a whole business, bro. It's a whole business.
Did you want to confirm, or was that like
again like a lot of these things? I didn't even think twice about it because I just didn't know. I didn't know better. I did it really out of being naive. Like I just did it because this is what I grew up in. This is what my parents did. It's part of my culture. Like this is just normal what we have to do. Mm-hmm. Now it's like I wouldn't have confirmed. Like for what? I haven't gone to church since I confirmed. But the best thing about doing my confirmation was our confirmation retreat. That was fire.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
I mentioned that in the prior episodes because I read the letter that my mom wrote, and she wrote that because of my confirmation, and the letter my dad wrote. They wrote that for me for my confirmation retreat. But that was fun. That was super fun. But even at the time when you're 15, like I don't know if I want to be Catholic for real or not. I don't know any better. I'm just going based off what I see. My cousins have all done it. My tios have, like everyone in my family has done this, so it's part of what I have to do. But I don't go to church at all anymore. My mom, she goes still. My mom and brother still go sometimes, but my sister, my other brother, me and my brother, my sister don't really go. Just my younger brother and my mom that really be going. So
I feel like religion is really just like like humans' way of interpreting interpreting the world around them. So I was gonna ask, like, if you were to ever have like kids or children or anything like that, would you introduce them to that interpretation of the world, even though you don't believe in it? Would you allow them to make the decision to believe in it themselves?
ooh, that's a good question. Because I wouldn't want them to believe in it, but if they did, then they do. You know, I wouldn't take that away from them.
Mm-hmm.
But I would definitely just go more down the spirituality.
Yeah, definitely.
I believe we all believe the same thing. It's just in different ways.
Yeah.
Correct.
So I don't know who's right. I don't know who's right, and I don't know why we fight about who's right or not. Like that, I don't care. But I just want my kid. Go ahead.
Have you looked at other religions and seen how it's like?
Not study them, but like just surface level. You know, like Islam, the Jewish religion,
Judaism.
It's Judaism, right? What was your question though? Like, would I instill the values in them?
Would you introduce them to that? Like, hey, this is
just the religion
This
itself?
is what religion is. You guys have the choice to follow this.
I don't think I will, because there's nothing in me that would have probably like even Bibles around me, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have anything around me to be like, look, this is what I grew up on. I think them just hearing me talk, they're gonna just form into like a spiritual type of person, just because of how I speak of things and how I reference things. Like I don't say, God did this for me. I refer to God as the Matrix. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't know what we live in. You can say the universe, you can say God, you can say the Matrix, or I don't know
the
creator. Yeah, you can say whatever you want, but I would that's how I speak about it. Like, the Matrix was matrixing. That's basically me saying God doing his thing, that's God doing God. So I don't think I would introduce them to what I grew up on. Not because I think it's bad and I don't want them to get brainwashed by it. It's just because I don't practice it in my everyday life, that it won't be around me for them to just even like see or even try to question it or anything like that. Because I definitely was the kid I always questioned everything. Like my mom, like if you talk to my mom, like I was that kid that always said, Mom, Adam and Eve were the first people on earth. Like poof, they're just them. Like that never made sense to me, bro. Like ever. And then the whole turning a fish to 40 or, doing all like that just never was. Like, that sounds like a great story. That sounds cute.
Yeah.
That's how I always looked at it like that. So I was that person that would question things. At the time, my mom would always get mad because I would question it. And obviously she would get mad because she didn't have an answer either, And then now, where she's at with it too, it's just like, she identifies as Catholic and that's her religion, but she's not like head over heels for the religion, She's not trying to convince people this is how it is, that Adam and Eve this, that you should do this, you should do that. She don't do none of that. She kind of just does her own thing. And she just likes to go to church to worship God. But then I tell people, like, your home is church. You can make church is anywhere you worship God. And that can be your home. Your home is where you could be doing your worshiping and praising and you're praying and all that type of stuff. But people are under this illusion that you have to go to the house of God. But if we're all created in the image of God, then why can't I worship God in my home, right?
In your own way, even.
In your own.
I was always confused with religion, just based off the fact that in the Bible, it read that God knows everything you're going to do from the day you're born to when you die, how many hairs you have on your head, and I'm like, then why do we have the ability to make the wrong decisions?
But are they the wrong decisions? What if that is part of the?
So that's my thing. Is like, then you were born to go, in the wrong place.
It goes back to the whole concept of was it written or do you write it?
Yeah, exactly. So from my understanding in Christianity, God knows no matter what you do, he knows from the day. So he knows what decision you're going to make and he's going to allow you to make that decision. And I asked that in Sunday school and they kicked me out. They were like,
what?
Yeah, you got to go to the adult class. They sent me, you got to ask the pastor that. They sent me to the adult class. I wasn't allowed to go.
Wow. Are they going to silence you?
I would always ask those questions. They didn't like it.
And it's genuine like questions. It's not like we're trying to just talk bad about the church. It's just like, I want to know, bro. Like, make it make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, you can't pick and choose how you want to view things. No, I agree.
That's why a lot of people that I know, they don't go to church, but they read the Bible and kind of dig deep with it in their own way, because they're kind of like on their own exploration of it, you know?
Yeah.
Without having someone else interpret it for them.
The other day I asked my coworker, I asked him, hey, are you at the wrong place at the wrong time, or were you supposed to be there? And then he goes, I'm like, no. And he goes, yeah, well, sometimes you're at the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm like, yeah, but like, what if that's destiny for you to be at the wrong place at the wrong time? Like, what if that was supposed to happen? You know? And he starts thinking about it like, yeah, you're right. But because I hate when people say like, oh, wrong place at the wrong time. But like, why? Why is it the wrong place at the wrong time? Like, what if you were supposed to be there? What if that was supposed to happen to you? What if you were supposed to be in that shootout? What if you were supposed to be in that car accident?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What if that was part of the test, or what if that was part of the journey?
For sure.
And so, like, man, this is a whole different plática, because I want to eventually have a plática about like life and existence. The plática of existence will be just crazy, because like I don't know how this started, bro. I don't know where we come from. I don't know, and it doesn't. Before it used to bug me, I try to figure it out. Right now, I just like, you're not supposed to figure it out, and I don't think we'll ever know where we come from. But like what religion has done to like. Religion makes sense, bro. It makes sense because there's so many of us, bro, that you needed a type of tool to control people, right? And that was the churches. The churches did that.
For sure.
And
control the masses.
And I always tell people this, like, I may not agree with your guys' views on church and religion like that, but if that's making you be a better person, continue to go.
Keep doing it.
Because we need better people in the world. I don't care what it takes you to become a better person. I don't care what's influenced you, what keeps you going. If that's church, keep going, please. So that's my take on church. You know, I just don't like when people try to make me believe their religion. Like last year, right? I had my intentions. You know, I entertained these Mormons for a little bit because I wanted to get them on the pod.
Yeah.
But I never knew the Mormon perspective. I never knew it, and I kind of always had like a surface level of everyone else's perspective. May not fully know it, but I know the surface level. So the Mormonism I never like dived into it. So I had them over, and you know, they're talking to me, but they always try to like make me like go to church. Like, oh, you should come to our church and see how it is, and do all this and do all that. And I would always ask questions for them, and they wouldn't know how to answer them. They'd be like, oh, you know, we have to, like you said, we have to get our pastor. We have to get the big person. Yeah. They couldn't even do my pod, bro. And I even challenged them. I'm like, bro, you guys believe in this so much, right? He goes, yeah. So I'm like, why can't you speak on it on the pod? Oh, it was because we have to ask permission. And I'm like, see, and that's my thing. You guys are controlled. Yeah. You don't even notice that you're controlled.
Yeah, for sure.
And they started talking about like Joseph, whoever that found the religion and everything. And then they're speaking. And I'm just like, bro, like, but why is that real? Like, why is it your way?
Yeah. And
they start breaking more down. And it's just like, that doesn't answer my question, bro. Like, I'm not trying to make it seem like my religion was right, but I question everything. So right now you guys are talking to me, and everything they were saying to me was like red flag, red flag, red flag. It was just like a lot of like abuse from like certain priests and certain things, and it's like they try to justify it where, you know, well, just because we have one bad person in our church doesn't mean everyone bad everyone in the church is bad. And it's like, that's besides the point, bro. Like, a lot of this stuff is just brainwashing people to do something that they think is making them a good person, right? And again, if it is, cool. But then people get stuck in that box of like, this is how you are a good person, and then start judging everyone else. And that's when it gets like tricky and ugly. And I'm like, but it's just ugly. I'm gonna cool off this.
But that's where it gets me, is if you're on the right path and you're good and you like your religion, you like your church, why do you feel like you have the right to judge other people, ridicule other people, and say horrible things about them? Because I don't think that, I don't know, I use Jesus. Like, would Jesus do that? Like, why are you
100%?
Like, why would you, like, when I was a kid, I would see Jesus as like this cool magical guy who helped people, and he was with the poor, and he had he was just like, he didn't have a cape though. He was just like this regular guy who so happened to be magical.
He didn't have a cape, but was capping.
But like, I just feel like there's so much, there's extremes too, and I just feel like a lot of people are so like self-righteous and want to be right, and it's like, but if you're good and your family and whoever in your household, why do you feel the need to attack other people for their beliefs? Or, you know?
Because, well, I think they're brainwashed to where they want to save people. So they want to save you from that religion that you believe because it's not the right way, right? It's like Jehovah's Witnesses when they come and they're like, it's like, it's this way and this is going to happen in Revelations and this and blah, 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 blah. And to be honest, I think Jehovah's Witness, what I like about Jehovah's Witness is that they treat every day as a regular day. Like, forget holidays, forget your birthday, which I like that to an extent because that's kind of like like, who cares about holidays, bro? Like, today could be Mother's Day. Why do you need it to be May, 10th or whatever day it is, May 8th? So, but I just don't like how they be waking you up at 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning. Like, there's no consideration, bro. Like, because you're trying to shove God down my throat. Pause, but you're trying to shove this religion down my throat that this is the way it is. And they always approach you like on some scary stuff too. Like, are you sure you're going to go to heaven? It's like, bro, I don't like that.
Why is that their problem? Why is that their
Because they're
deal?
doing a good deed. Them going house to house is them doing their part and them getting their acceptance into heaven. That's what it is. They assume, I'm doing this so I can do BS on the side, but I'm still doing this every week, so it outweighs the sinning, I guess.
Have you guys ever
that's
heard?
like,
You go ahead. Go ahead.
it's like when I was going to church as a child, that's how I felt. I felt like that was like the checkbox. It's like, I sat in church for 1 hour. But then it's like when you leave, you hear all these platicas of like, they're gossiping. The dad's whooping the kid's butt because he was acting up at church as soon as they got outside. It's like, so what did you learn? What is it? Because you walk out and then you just go back to sinning again.
Sinning, man. But sacraments are definitely a thing in the Catholic Church, and I forgot that reconciliation is a sacrament.
I don't even know.
Well,
I know anointing of the sick,
right? But the way you write it on the outline, is that the order that they're supposed to be in, or no? Do you know?
That's how I pulled it off of Google. Yes,
because I know baptism is the first one, but I thought it went baptism, reconciliation, then communion, and then confirmation, and then the marriage, ordination, and anointing the sick, all in like different. It doesn't matter what order it goes in.
No say. But how many people really follow everything?
Nobody. Church is an ego boost. I went to church. I did my part. I'm holier than thou.
I used to volunteer a lot. I used to volunteer for like schools and help like homeless people. I would just do it on my own. And that was like the question. What church are you from? Are you doing it because you go to church or you're part of a church? I'm like, no, I did this on my own. Mm-hmm. I hosted this whole coat drive.
I come from the Church of Healing with Nicole.
I decided to do it from my heart, like not because anyone's telling me to. Like, I don't know. I just think it's interesting how it's progressed.
I don't know if I will get married, but I'm definitely not getting married by the church.
Same. I just don't.
Not. Are you guys familiar with a documentary called Hail Satan? It's not as dark as it seems. So
I've heard about it, but I have not watched it.
It's actually like super interesting. Their main focus is the separation of church and state. Because like if you look at the dollar bill, it still has "In God We Trust," and their idea is that the state is trying, the government is trying to push Christianity while saying we're also a free country. So their main focus is like the separation of church and trying to stop brainwashing people. Yeah, it's on Netflix, I believe. You should check it out.
Yes,
it's good.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The older you get, and the more you start seeing the way the world works, you step away from a lot of this stuff. And I let people have fun with it. I'm never gonna tell you that's some BS. Yeah. I'm never gonna say stop believing that. I'm never gonna say that because that's not for me to say, right? But I know a lot of people, once 2020 came, bro, a lot of people at work that were very religious, they stepped away from religion a lot. They obviously they got into the conspiracy bag, and I'm responsible for a few of those people, but I don't care no more about like conspiracy stuff. They still come up to me and be like, "Yo, did you hear when this happened?" I'm like, I don't know anything that's going on anymore, bro, because I just don't care. But they stepped away from a lot of that stuff, and I think we're gonna start seeing more people just step. Well, do you guys think everyone's stepping away from church a lot, or?
So I go back to saying I think church is and religion is an interpretation of the world around you, and like the things we don't understand fall under the category of like faith. You have to have faith. Yeah. So I think more people get their own interpretation of the world, and they start to find their own way, and that's why they step away from religion as they grow older. So you're probably noticing the people that you grew up with stepping away, which is why you're seeing, because you guys are all realizing the same stuff around the same time.
Right.
It's like, I don't want to give $1. I'd rather just go buy taco. I don't want to give $1 to this guy. You know, I'm just gonna go buy food. Right. I don't want to give this $1 and pray and hope. Where I know that I can do certain things and put certain things into motion to make that happen.
Yeah, and I think too, though, I think it's 50-50, because I think with 2020 and everything that went down, a lot of people stepped away. And then also a lot of people flocked to it as well.
Yeah.
I think there was this shift.
Especially during
there was a shift.
Yeah. The thing that bugs me the most about church is that I've had this conversation many times, that people are just looking for a savior. People want something, like people can't accept the fact that we are our own gods, we are our own saviors, that we control our destiny. You know, it's written and we write it, but we, to an extent, we do. A choice really can, change your whole life, really. But I don't like how like people need something to say, that's who made us, or that's what did this, or that's who does this, that's who takes care of me, that's who blesses me. It's always, they can't just credit themselves, and like God gives you God just wakes you up. If you wake up, that's God. If you're able to walk right and speak and do all, that's God. But God ain't gonna manifest stuff for you. Like, you have to start putting the action. God gives you the capable body to do what you need to do in this lifetime. And if you don't take advantage of that, then that's on you. That ain't God's fault. God's not blessing you because you're not blessing yourself.
Exactly. It's like, don't expect, like, people who are like, oh, you need to pray. Okay, you can pray until you're blue in the face. And I always tell this story. When I was little, I wanted a puppy. And I would pray every single night. I would look out the window, look at the stars. I would pray, I want a puppy. I prayed, please, God, can I please have a puppy? I'm 37 years old and never got that puppy. But I also could have just went and got a puppy once I turned a certain age and got my puppy for myself.
That's true.
It's like, so you can't just sit here and be like, oh my God, this, and not take any action. There's this like blanket statement of like, oh, just pray about it.
Because God got me.
You have to pray. Sure, prayer is powerful. It's like, there are different ways that you can pray. But if you put the action behind the intention, there's going to be some sort of manifestation, or it's going to happen. But if you're just sitting there like, oh, I want this big house. I want this big house. Please, God, give me this big house. Where's the big house going to come from? From the sky? Like, you have to have a job. Can you afford to pay the mortgage? Like, there's more to it. And I think some people just get caught up in this box. I feel like, for me, church is this box. And people are comfortable in the box. Yeah. I mean, and they don't want to step out of it. Yeah, let's not go there. But as someone, for myself, I've studied, not everyone in my family is Catholic. I have an uncle who's Buddhist.
Wow.
I have friends who are Muslim. I've looked into religion. I have a copy of the Quran in my house. I have a copy of Buddhist teachings in my house. I have a Jesus Calling book that I used to read to my grandma and translate it to Spanish. I still have those things. But I look at it occasionally. Sometimes I'm like, oh, well, let me look at something and read it and but if you ask people, they're like, oh no, that religion's wrong. And it's like, how are all these religions and countries fighting wars, dropping bombs because of people being different religions in the name of God? It makes no sense. Like, you're murdering people in the name of God just to be right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. It don't make sense. You're supposed to make it make sense.
You yourself.
Yeah.
And I make it work for me.
Yeah, that's true. And then you have these people that just go to church on special occasions, right? You got the people that just go to church on Easter, Christmas, like that makes you
Palm Sunday.
I'm trying to figure out the logic behind that, like, and they feel bad if they don't go to church like on an Easter, on a Christmas, but they don't go all year. But on this specific day, it weighs more heavy on them. And I don't get, like, the churches will always get packed on Palm Sunday.
Always.
You always see people that you never saw in church. You didn't even know they came to this church. Ash Wednesday, same thing. People standing up around the church just to go get the little ash on your head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, it's wild. Christmas, Easter, the Dia de la Virgen, like all these days that people just show up to worship God in the church, and then you never see them the rest of the year.
Where does that ash come from? Like, do they just
what is the meaning behind that?
They burn something specific to, like,
oh, I'm sure they burn something specific.
I think it's sage, no?
I don't know. I've always enjoyed the whatever they burn in the church, the incense.
I heard it was sage. I didn't believe it, but someone told me it was sage.
No, I can't confirm that, but isn't like frankincense and myrrh or
something?
I don't know. I don't know because I haven't been in church in so long, but I do love that smell, that incense, that I enjoy that.
Yeah.
So usually the Ash Wednesdays ashes are created by burning palms from the previous year's Palm Sunday celebration.
Oh, that's hard.
Look at us learning.
That's hard. That's hard. That's a good question. I never thought about what they do with all the palms.
Yeah.
People make the little crosses with them. People get creative with the palms, man.
They burn them.
They turn it into like a little craft. You would take it home and then put it over your door.
Yeah. And then there was people that would make them like super nice.
I know.
And you keep
it'd be like the big ones.
Yeah.
That was fun. I really enjoyed Palm Sunday. That was one that I enjoyed.
It was funny. No, Ash Wednesday was funny because people would go in the morning to get the ash and then go to work with it just to like show people like I have my I got my ash.
Yeah, I got.
That was so corny to me. I used to hate that. Like, come on, man. Some people had it the night before. They would sleep with it and like still have it the next day.
Like, I did it.
Get out of here.
Come on.
Yeah, but I went through all that. I did all that. I had fun with it. At the time, I didn't know what any of this meant, so I just went along with it and did it. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I never even figured out what it really meant. I just stopped going to church and stopped participating in that. And
I just stopped.
Like, I used to always want to be someone's like padrino. I used to always want to be someone's, like baptism padrino or something. But now it's like I wouldn't be the right fit for that because I'm not gonna be taking them to church every week. I'm not gonna be telling them you should go to church. If that's what the parents are looking for, I'm not gonna be that type of godparent. Like I'm gonna be more like my values. I'm gonna just be me. So I don't think it'd be a right choice. But it's hard to say no to someone when they ask you to be, a godparent, especially if it's someone that you're close to, like a cousin or something. They want you to be, your nephew's godparent. It gets tricky, but
I would probably deny.
You would deny?
Yeah, I would deny. I would deny based off. I would just let them know like the way my lifestyle. It's not appropriate for children, and I don't want anything. God forbid anything happen to you guys. In something soon.
That's smart.
They're going to be a part of this lifestyle that they shouldn't be a part of.
That's smart. Some people look at like now, I think in the current age that we're in, it's like they call a godparent like, oh, if something happens to us, we hope that you can like help out or not necessarily. I don't see it anymore as like, oh, you're going to take them to church and talk to them about the Lord. It's more like we hope that you can.
No, let's keep it real, Nicole. They're choosing godparents based off money.
Facts.
If you got money, you're the uncle that's gonna be padrino because what parents don't want a broke person to be their kid padrino?
Exactly.
You're not getting nothing on your birthday. They're not spoiling you. I've been blessed that my baptism godparents till this day when they see me, they'll still shoot me like $50. They'll still shoot me like $100. Till this day.
I don't speak to either godparent that was assigned to me from ages ago.
I like my godparents. I have my godparents are my mom's high school friends. And
oh, that's cool.
yeah, so that I'm still they're living here in Riverside too. So my madrina, my godfather is a white guy, and then my madrina is a Mexican, and it's a cool little combination. And they've always been there every time for everything, birthday parties and whatever. They always show up no matter what for me. So I'm forever grateful for them. And then my other godparent for first communion is my uncle, which he lives next door. So he's always been in my life too. And then my other one is my mom's oldest brother, and that's the only one I see, a few times. And but even him, like when he sees me, he's always, let's go out to eat, let's go do this, let's go do that. It's always catering to me in a way. So, but I don't think
nice.
I think that's how parents choose them now, though, based off the money. And nowadays too, no one's getting baptized. You're just Nina and Nino. They just start telling you, oh, that's Nina, that's your padrino, that's your padrina, madrina. There's no type of ceremony that goes on. They just put the label on you and people take it. And I actually don't mind that. That's actually pretty good. Cause going back to what you said, most of the time now people are just doing it based off of like they're not it's not about the church no more. It's about just being there if something happens to the parents. Yeah. Just stepping up when the parents aren't stepping up. So I actually like that instead of putting that whole ceremony and title in.
Yeah.
Who knows what type of like ceremony you are is really happening when you're doing all this stuff, right? Who knows? That's that gets deep. All right, let's hurry up and get out of here. Oh, it's almost finished. We touched on that, family, religion. Any last things about church, Nicole? Before we get into Palabra del Dia.
Before we get into Palabra del Dia, I will touch on this quickly. There were so many times in my life where I was just so down that I was like, oh, maybe the church could help me, battling with sobriety when my grandma was sick. And every single time I was disappointed. And then I just came to the realization, like I had to just do it myself. And maybe like, I would pray and stuff like that. Cause there were times where I was like, oh my gosh, like how am I still alive? Or there has to be some sort of higher power. But I think that, I don't know. I felt like maybe church was like a crutch. Like I expected, oh, I'm going to walk in and these people are going to care. The priest is going to care. And it's really more you and your relationship with God
and yourself.
That's it.
I was in a ceremony one time or a service one time where they had everybody lined up in the middle and they put like this big, like 6-foot mirror in front of everybody. And they made you walk up and then they made you look around and they would make you look at everybody in the congregation and they'd be like, now forget about everybody and look at this mirror. And they make you look at the mirror and they'd be like, it's you. They tell you like, you're in this, it's your relationship with God, and look at the mirror and they'd make you say, I don't look like what I've been through. And that's probably one of the only services I've had that really stuck with me throughout my entire life. Is like, even though I'm not the most religious, like that ideology behind that stuck with me. And like, you're right. It's just you and your relationship with God. It's you and your relationship with whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Deep.
Yeah, that resonated with me for sure.
Deep.
I almost cried during that one. I was just looking at myself like, I don't look like what I've been through. And I'm just like screaming it. And I'm just like, man, like that felt good.
It's empowering.
That felt, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like,
but is that God?
I would say yes, because you're God.
I agree. I do agree.
And people think that's so blasphemy, bro. When you say like, "Oh, we're gods," some people hate that, especially when the people in religion. Oh, how can you compare yourself to God? He literally said that we're created in His image.
For sure.
So why can't I strive for, like, to me, God is the only thing that's perfection, right? Like whatever God is, that's perfection. Why can't I strive to be like God? I may not never get to be like God, but why can't I strive for perfection?
If you strive for perfection, you're guaranteed excellence.
Boom.
Exactly. Strive for perfection, man. Even though you'll never get there, keep trying to be like God. Keep trying to be righteous like God. And it's a process. It's a process because we live in this toxic world where we love toxicity. We love negativity. We get attached to it so quickly. We engage in it so much faster than we do with righteousness, you know? And that's just the world we live in, but you just have to like balance it out. You really have to balance it out. Cause I'm also not about all like love and light. I'm just that person that's like, that's what made me step away a lot from the like spiritual community, that everyone would just love and light this, love and light that. And it's like, bro, I'm human. And today I feel like reacting. So I can react in a negative way too. I don't always have to react in a love and light type of way because I just felt fake. I wasn't expressing how I really feel. And, that's just my take on it, man. We all gods. We all created in the image of God, and you have the ability to change your life, man. God only deserves a slice of the pie. You know, God gives you the ability. Like I said, if you were able to wake up, run, walk, write,
Speak,
see, smell, all that, God's giving you all the resources you need to go get it. Now, what you do with the 24 hours, what you do in this while you're here, that's on you. You make all those decisions yourself, you know? And heaven is a mindset. Heaven and hell is a mindset. And however you look at the world, is that we live in hell and we live in heaven. That's why I hate when people be like, oh, this is hell already. Well, yeah. But here, when I'm in my studio, this is heaven to me. You know, when I'm at home, it's heaven to me. When I step outside, it ain't bombs going off. I don't have to worry about missiles. I don't have to worry about, you know, the army. I don't have to worry about martial law. Like, to me, it's heaven. Yeah. But when you turn the TV on and you're on your phone, it's hell. Because they ain't going to show you heaven. They don't want you in that frequency. They want you in the, wow, things are, I hate when people say, wow, it's so crazy. The world's so crazy right now. Why is it crazy? Because you're on your phone. And everything you're seeing is on your phone. As soon as you turn your phone off, bro, I promise you the world ain't crazy. And I say that, and I don't mean that like, yeah, there's people that are going through it. I get that. I'm not saying there's not no crazy stuff happening at all. But when you're on your phone and the algorithm is just showing you negativity, you automatically start programming yourself to think that everything is so negative. And the whole world's negative. And I'm sorry to tell you that it's not. It's half and half. It's yin and yang. As much as there's evil in this world, there's righteousness in this world. It's a lot of amazing good people in this world. It's a lot of amazing good people in this world, but it's not shown. Why is it not shown? Because they don't want you tapping into that frequency. They're going to show you those celebrities fighting. They're going to show you death. They're going to show you mass shootings. They're going to show you everything.
The drama.
Everything else but being a righteous person and just believing in yourself and following yourself and not being distracted from finding yourself. All these things that you're seeing on the screens is to distract you from finding yourself. And you don't find, if you find yourself in church, go for it. Please. Do it. But if I don't find myself there, don't get mad at me. Don't exile me. Don't throw me out. You know, it's okay to disagree. It's okay to agree to disagree.
Exactly.
Nah, it's this TV turned off. Of course something had to happen when we're about to be done.
But we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we're good.
And continuing.
What they're gonna say, but nah, that's what I just want to. I don't want to leave people with that. Where it's if church makes you be a better person, continue to keep going.
Continue.
If you've been questioning it for a long time and you don't know if it's the right move to make or you're gonna feel judged, make the move. Figure it out for yourself. You can always step away from the church, and if you realize that made you feel better, then go back to the church. You know, you could always find what works best for you, and there's no shame on people. But let's just stop trying to pressure people to believe what we believe. That's the best thing about living in this playground, in this world that we live in, where free will, right? And that's even like that's a whole different platica, you know, the free will platica, but people have the right to be haters. People have the right to be evil all the time. People have the right to be negative all the time. The same way you have the right to be positive all the time. The same way you have the right to be good all the time. You can't be mad at people being, you can bleep this out. You can't be mad at people being people. You just can't.
You can't.
But you have the choice to not associate with people. You have the choice to go do your own thing and live righteous. And you don't have to engage in the negativity. You don't have to engage in social media. You don't have to engage in all this systems that are put in place. But we do. And it's okay. But just know it's you. You making that decision. It ain't God making you do something. It ain't someone else. It's you doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But que Dios los bendiga.
Amen.
All right, before we get out of here, Nicole, our last segment of the day, Palabra del Día. Now, I was trying to find some church words, some church terms to give the people. And then I found a word that I didn't even know it in English.
I didn't either.
So our Palabra del Día is tabernáculo. Is that right?
Tabernáculo.
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 In English, it's a tabernacle.
That's a funny word to me.
And a tabernacle, it's the in biblical use, it's a fixed or movable habitation, typically of light construction, and then a meeting place for worship used by some Protestants or Mormons. Now, I didn't know that it could be used as a place of worship, like a light construction place of worship like that. I thought a tabernacle was. I was always under the assumption. Well, when I looked it up and I saw what it was, it clicked right away, and it's the thing where they keep the body of Christ in.
Oh,
you know when they go and after they're done, they everyone bows their head down while they're walking with it. They put it inside the tabernacle. That's what when I saw it, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But then the second meaning is like it's a lot of pictures on Google where it shows like they set up a tent, like a little worship spot, a little worship place, and then people it's like outside of the church, and people just go there to worship it. So. But maybe they have like the body of Christ in there or something. There has to be something in there that, represents God. So, yeah, I guess how would I use this in a sentence? El Padre, how do you say? Oh, damn, how do you say? What is it called when you get the bread when they get the bread and blood? Communion?
La comunión.
Después de la comunión, el Padre camina con la hostia.
Con la hostia.
Al tabernáculo.
Boom.
that works.
Because
right?
I don't have a sentence for this word.
So yeah, basically I said after communion, the Father walks the body. What is it in English?
Eucharist.
The Eucharist. Damn, that's what it is. The Eucharist. The Father after the communion, the Father walks the Eucharist to the tabernacle.
Boom. Thank you for that.
Yeah. That was a good word because you were like, I didn't know what that meant.
I had no idea what that was.
Look at us learning on. Sorry, no lo siento. Sorry, no lo siento. Sorry, I don't siento that I was mad earlier.
It's okay.
It's already 10 o'clock. You're like, this is late. Oh, man.
But we're still here and we pushed through.
We really some koi fishes, huh?
We really are.
Yo, shout out to the Plática de tattoos because I learned that it meant perseverance.
Perseverance, yes.
And we just got to keep pushing through. We got to keep pushing through. As much
keep
as
swimming like Dory.
Yes. Keep swimming because as much as I get irritated when things don't go my way, it's a habit I gotta get out of. But that's my inner child when I do that.
Oh, okay.
Like, okay, you can justify it. Let me see what song I'm gonna find because
when I was a child, I had anger management classes.
Really? Mr. Positive had anger management classes?
It was so ridiculous. I wasn't angry at all. So I
wait.
Yeah. So I used to get I have a lot of older siblings, and I'm like middle child and the youngest boy. I used to get picked on all the time by my siblings, and it was like sibling rivalry, pick on, nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
So I got into meditation when I was like 8.
Word?
When I was like 8 years old, because one of my brother's friends, like I was always mad, and he's just like, "Hey, have you tried meditating?" And gave me a bunch of videos to look up. I started meditating, and then I got into like combat sports to defend myself against my brothers. Later down the line, someone got into a fight with me. He was saying some ridiculous stuff. And then he came up, he pushed me, he swung on me, and I broke the kid's nose on accident. They put me in anger management classes, and I was like one of the I became like one of the instructors. So I'm talking to the instructor, and they're like, "You're not angry, are you?" I'm like, "Not even a little bit, but I can see these people being angry, and now I understand it better." And they're just like, "Oh wow!" Like, and then we became close friends, me and the instructor. And after that, like, I'm in there asking.
You're
kids,
8.
No. When I was 8, I started meditating. This was
Okay.
when I was like 16, like 15 or 16. And,
How old are you right now?
I'm 25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This was when I was like 15 or 16, and I was in the classes, like hearing people talk about it, or hearing people like not want to engage in the anger management. And I'm like, if you just like really just say your issues out loud and then hear them, you'll notice that a lot of them are self-created. You'll notice that a lot of them you're dealing with and then one question that the instructor would always ask, and he'll be like when the kid says, why they were mad or what they did, he'll be like, "And how'd that help you today?" Quiet. They would go quiet. And we just sit there and wait.
Wow.
Until they say something. And they always say it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it never does.
This guy Joe, man. Mr. Positivity.
Yes, sir.
I need more of that around me. I ain't gonna lie.
I got you, man. I'm full of it.
I be mad, and the way he says is like, I can't.
Take some positivity.
I can't be mad. Man. Well, thank you guys for tapping in again.
Gracias.
We eventually, I'm not gonna say we'll never have technical difficulties again, but eventually I'll hopefully get to a point where they're not as excessive as they were today.
But we got through it.
We always gonna get through, good sister. We're koi fishes.
Yes.
But man, I appreciate everyone tapping in. Please follow No Lo Siento on Instagram, Overly Blunt TV, YouTube, for all the Overly Blunt Network content. Chris X Matt, Healing with Nicole pages. Follow.
Like, share, subscribe.
All that. Share the reels. We got you guys, man. We're going to keep providing content for you guys every week. Every week. As long as we got an engineer, we're here every week.
We're here.
every week. So shout out to you, Joe.
Hey,
Thank you,
shout out to
Joe.
you guys.
All right, guys. Well, we out of here, man. I will see y'all next week. Sorry.
No lo siento.
That's what I'm talking about. Adios. Que Dios los bendiga a todos.
Que estén bien.